Forgot to introduce my friend here in the second row, Mr. Eric Bowers, a neighbor of mine. I know it's always exciting when you've got a visitor that shows up, and we tend to drool a little bit, hoping that we might have a new regular attender. Eric and I live in Tahoe Park area over in East Sacramento, about a half hour away, but it's so nice of you to be able to join us. Eric and I met this past Holy Week and have worshiped together on a number of times. And again, it is so great to be back with you folks here at Calvary this morning. I have been talking quite a bit this week about last week's worship service. That blessing of the animals I thought was just fantastic. I have been leading those type of services since the very first year of my ordination back in 1999. Hard to believe that's 20 years ago already. I was talking with Pastor Kirsten this week and told her that was the best one that I have experienced. And what a wonderful diversity of animals you folks have here. There are a couple of horses, tarantula, python, man, we had it all. And I'm an animal lover, so I'm so grateful to God for blessing us with pets. And it just feels right to have a service like last week's. And if you've never thought about this before, I hope you think about it in the future. That is one of the best Sundays to invite someone that's not connected with a church to come. For those that are animal lovers, it's just, a slam dunk. It's like asking a grandparent if they want to honor their grandchild. It's just one of those things they enjoy. But it's almost just one of those things that you just gotta see. Wait a minute, there was horses in worship with you? There was pythons? It's a neat thing to invite people to, and just feels good. Many of you got to meet my 6-month-old German Shepherd puppy, Zane, last week, and he's been such a blessing and quite a handful. It is just impossible to wear that dog out. He is just chewing through everything. And it can be scary if they're like extension cords. He's chewed through several of those that have been plugged in. And just thank God that he hasn't gotten zapped, although maybe that would help deter him. The harness that have those thick straps, he can chew through in just a couple of seconds. After I chewed through the first one, I've been putting them up, and he somehow gets up there and gets them down. He's on his 6th harness already. When they're cords for a computer, it can be awfully expensive. I mean, they really can test my patience, but prior to getting Zane, it was the longest stretch of time that I went without a pet. And I forgot how the psychological benefit that pets have. It's just been such a wonderful, wonderful blessing to have him and his dedication and commitment, and it feels good. So grateful for last week's service. Also grateful to be preaching again now. I have been on leave from call, and I believe this is probably the longest that I have gone without preaching since I began about 25 years ago. Now the danger of that is when a preacher doesn't preach in a while, there's a lot of stuff that's built up inside of me. So get comfortable, folks, because we might be here a while this morning. Oh, I'm kidding. We'll keep it quick. Part of my gratitude this morning is being able to help Pastor Kirsten, as she and Matt and the girls are celebrating a huge accomplishment, 20 years of marriage. And for those of you who have been through that, know that is no easy task. And many of you know Pastor Kirsten and I go way back, probably about 35 years or so. And as a friend and as dean of our Capital Conference, Pastor Kirsten has been a pastor to me during this time for me, and several times. And it it feels good. I'm so happy to be able to kind of return that favor and help when I can. And I'm feeling a little bit of a connection with you folks here. I've preached here before, and I've worshipped here now three of the 4 past Sundays, and it's nice to be here. So much to be grateful for. On a Sunday that we think about gratitude. It's great. I mean, as we read through that lesson of the lepers, thinking about gratitude, and we have so much to be grateful for. I think past over the year and some of the times that Pastor Kirsten has pastored me, it's been a tough time for me personally. I have one older brother, my only sibling, and he and both of my parents have, in the past couple of years, almost died. They've quite literally been on their deathbed, and quite miraculously have all come back from it, which I'm pleased to report. But the gratitude you feel when someone comes back, when you have prepared for what looked like imminent death, to be able to come back. I'm sure some of you may have been in that experience, and I want you to think about that, or it doesn't have to be a situation like that. Think of a time in your life when you were most grateful. Maybe it was like the day that you got married, or I suppose more impressively or more importantly, celebrating an anniversary like Pastor Kirsten and Matt are doing now. Maybe it was a day that your child or grandchild was born. Just take a moment and think about a time in your life that you were most grateful. And try to remember how you felt. Remember that feeling of pure bliss because of the circumstances that you are going through. Do you remember just that feeling of peace and being in the moment, not worrying about what needed to get done that evening or the next day? Those moments after that I've gone through, those moments of intense gratefulness and gratitude, it's just serene. Those moments of serenity and gratefulness, you just know that things are gonna be okay. And you let go of maybe your need to control or to be aware of as many details as you can. You just have this feeling that God is going to pave the way for you. And part of the significance of those times for me are my faith and your faith just feeling alive. And it's more than just believing, it's knowing that God has blessed your life. And you're mindful of this in a way that you normally may not be. Boy, nothing beats those moments. They really are the best. The only problem with that type of experience is they don't last forever, right? I mean, no matter how much we try to hang on to them, they always seem to slip away. We can be like Peter at the Transfiguration. For those of you that remember that story, Jesus appears and it becomes glistening white, and there's Moses and Elijah show up, and Peter's like, "Oh, it's so good to be here, God. Let's build 3 tents and hang out here forever." I mean, Peter just wants to hang on to that time, and that's the way we can feel at those times of joy. But despite our best intentions of hanging on to those moments, they can slip away. My brother recently told me that this is a common experience, particularly for people that have almost died. He said that he shared in this cycle that you go through of feeling intense gratitude and joy for this new shot at life. But he explained how that feeling, at least the level of intensity that was at, only lasted about 2, maybe 3 years. And then, more times than not, people go back to the way they were before. If they were a stressed out control freak before, chances are they'll go back to being a stressed out control freak. And that's really sad, isn't it? This profound experience that seems to be wasted on, or at least forgotten by so many, because they lose sight of that sense of gratitude. Knowing these intense feelings probably wouldn't last. My brother said it's important. It's important to be intentional about living a life of gratitude. And I think that's really important for us in this day, in this place, in our culture. Our culture really can challenge this, because there can be a couple of mindsets that we can have. Some people may say there's 2 different types of people. I can see my life going through both these things. There can be one mindset where you're living in a sense of gratitude. You're aware and you're grateful. But then there's also those times where you can be living with a sense of entitlement. It's not just the millennials that have this sense of entitlement. And think about that for a moment. When we live with a sense of gratitude, we aren't taking things for granted. I mean, everything is seen as a gift. But when we have this sense of entitlement, we feel like the world owes us something. And you start to take things for granted. And when that occurs, it's hard to appreciate anything. This is a symptom of our affluenza. Maybe you've heard that term. That was kind of popular a while back. That is a great descriptive term of the dangers that affluent lives can carry. And we see this in our society. It's easy to feel entitled. And it's sad to say, but something our parable from Luke shows us this morning is that those who live with a sense of gratitude are in the minority, in the vast minority, in fact. Now keep in mind, this is so much more than just to keep a smile on your face, you big grouch, pithy kind of point. This is significant enough for Jesus to teach about. This is not just about being happy and cheer up. In fact, this is one of the many insights that recovery groups have discovered and have shared with us, is the importance of making gratitude lists. Literally, just writing down the things that you are grateful for. And this helps develop an attitude of gratitude, and this is significant. It is significant enough that it helps people break the chains of addiction. This is some really serious stuff. And a sense of gratitude does so much more than make us happy-go-lucky. A sense of gratitude really helps keep our ego in check. One of the better definitions of ego that I've heard is looking at ego as an acronym. EGO, edging God out. Or maybe you've heard of sin, S-I-N. What's at the center of sin? I. And so gratitude, it's helping combat that. It's something we must practice in order to live it. And when good things happen, we need to see it, we need to acknowledge it, and we need to be grateful for it. And there's so many things to be grateful for. And we're here today. That we have our health. I mean, maybe it's not as strong as we'd hope it to be, but we're here, and we've got each other, our faith. When we start to feel entitled to things, entitled to ways, we start to think that everything should go our way. I'm entitled to be wealthy. I'm entitled to have every light turn green when I'm driving down Elkhorn, huh? I'm entitled to not wait in this line or to have that parking spot that's reserved for those who actually need it. I'm entitled to the maximum paycheck possible for someone as wonderful as I am. I'm entitled to get my way at work, at home, in the relationships that I'm in. That's how some people are feeling. Maybe that's how we're feeling right now. But then we hit a bump in the road and life gets real and things turn against you. And then you sulk and you pout and we make ourselves and everyone around us miserable, getting into that pity party of why me. So all this stuff is good for us to wrestle with today. And as we go through this week, I would encourage you to read through this gospel. Maybe at the beginning of the day, as you're getting ready, to remind yourself to have to be mindful about gratitude, making a gratitude list and practicing that. Maybe at the end of the day, to review it. Think how you went through. Think about when you're most thankful to God. Is it only when the stock market is up? Or when your team is on a winning streak? Or your family is safe at home? Is that the only time when you're grateful? What are you going to do then when you have one of life's many downturns? The secret is to commit yourself to this practice of gratitude, no matter what happens. I truly believe the happiest people in life are those who live with this sense of gratitude, and we have to practice it. Giving thanks isn't just a good thing for us to do. It is key to our joy and keeping our relationship with God healthy. When I grew up, my mom taught me to write thank you notes. And if for no other reason, this was the rationale when you're young and you didn't want to do it, because you're not going to get another gift, Jason, if you don't. Maybe that'll motivate you. But now I see this as so much more. It really is simple. It really is so much more than just a simple act of being polite. It's developing that attitude of gratitude, and it's important to show that person that the relationship is important to you, at least enough to do that. So when we write a thank you note, aren't we in effect saying thank you to more than just the gift, but for that relationship itself? And we want to keep that alive. That's why expressing our gratitude towards God is just as important. It's keeping those channels of communication open with God and keeping that relationship primary. Do you want to know the best way, one of the best ways that you can say thank you to God for all that God has done for you? And the best way is really to pass those blessings on to someone else. In that story we just read, only one came back praising God. So where are you this morning? Are you on the road with the other 9 who take life for granted? Maybe you are, living in gratefulness for all God has done for you. And if so, let it go further. Let it go further. Let your gratitude spill out in acts of kindness and love to others, and that really is the best way to give thanks to our God. So let's pray. Good and gracious God, we do give you thanks for all of the blessings in our lives, and we recognize we take these things for granted sometimes, or take credit for them. We confess that we try to play director and control the things in life. Remind us that everything we have is a gift from you. Help us to take those gifts and pass them along, so that others may see the wondrous thing that you are doing through us, and that they will pass it on as well. Thank you most of all for loving us. All of these things we pray in the precious name of your Son, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we sing together our hymn of the